Thank you, Reflando D, for today's contingency. Agamemnon contingency. One shall stand. How long do you believe a war can last? A few years? A few dozen? Maybe even a few hundred? How about a few million? 5 million to be exact. A war so destructive that it not only renders your homeworld uninhabitable, but knocks it off its orbit as well. Now imagine you weren't just alive to witness it all, but were also one of the faces in the two factions who'd fought for all those years. This was the life of Orion Pax, an Autobot who would eventually be granted the matrix of leadership and the rank of Prime. From that moment forward, he would adapt a new name, being known as Optimus Prime from then on. As a being made of machinery, Optimus Prime, along with most Cybertronians, are incredibly durable, capable of having chunks of their body ripped off, such as a time where Optimus had half of his face removed in a fight against Megatron, and in some cases a strong enough Cybertronian can survive being cut in half. That said, not every Cybertronian has this level of durability, as feats like this is typically reserved for exceptionally powerful members. This is due to the material that makes up their bodies, a living metal that goes by many names. For this contingency, I'll refer to it as transformium. Similar to organic material, transformium acts as a layer of skin for a transformer. It is also capable of self-healing so long as there is a source of energy to draw from. For example, the Autobot known as Bumblebee once sustained lethal damage to his torso, the lights of his eyes fading during his final moments. Fortunately for him, however, his body would fall into a pool of energon, a material that acts as a life source for Cybertronians. He was only submerged for a short time, and yet this was more than enough to bring him back from the brink of death. It had also managed to repair his voice box, something that had been destroyed long before this during a different altercation. But healing isn't all it is capable of, as the living metal can also alter its form depending on how much energy a transformer has within their body. The obvious example being the difference in Prime's appearance before and after obtaining the matrix of leadership. Now, while being able to survive being bombarded by antimatter is impressive enough, Optimus Prime is more than just a punching bag. Despite his size of close to 30 feet and weighing several tons, Optimus Prime is an agile fighter, and a quick one at that. Add that with a wide range of combat experience built over millions of years, it's no surprise he's managed to survive for so long. Because of this, he's managed to trade blows with Megatron, the leader of the Decepticons. It should be noted that before the war even began, Megatron had made a name for himself through an outstanding record in gladiatorial combat. That said, hand-to-hand combat can't solve every confrontation. Fortunately, Optimus is equipped with incredibly powerful weaponry. As someone who has had several interpretations in the multiverse, Optimus Prime's arsenal can differ. But to keep things simple, I will focus on weapons which appear more consistently between the different versions. Beginning with the Ion Blaster, a large energy rifle with an exceptional output. It has taken many forms throughout the years, but one thing has remained the same, and that is its destructive ability, typically capable of destroying most Decepticons unfortunate enough to be in its direct line of fire. Next, we have his iconic battle axe, a weapon which can either appear as a physical weapon he can hold, or an energy weapon that forms itself from his hands, both being equally lethal. Both being powerful weapons of war, they are what one would expect upon seeing them for the first time. But there is one more weapon Optimus carries on him at all times, but it had only been used for the more dire of situations. And that weapon is the Matrix of Leadership itself. Some of you may not know what the Matrix of Leadership is, so I will summarize it to the best of my ability. An artifact of great power. The Matrix is a conduit which connects to the power of Primus, in essence the god of the Transformers. And where there is a god, there is also a devil, in this case one which goes by the name of Unicron, a massive transformer which devours planets on a cosmic scale, a being so large that it can dwarf planets. And yet, when the power of the Matrix was unleashed from within him, Unicron was unable to withstand it, his body destroyed. The only thing remaining being its head, which floated around Cybertron like a moon. Countering Optimus could prove difficult, as even my more powerful suits could hardly put a dent into him. And as of now, I lack the resources to obtain the transformium needed to make a mech of equal caliber. That said, there are other means of subduing Optimus which are well within my abilities. The first being a weakness that Transformers seem to share through different iterations. That being a vulnerability to sub-zero temperatures. Their own metal bodies seeming unable to withstand their own internal temperature. Transformers whose core temperature has dropped too low will effectively shut down. One such method to exploit this would be to force him into an Arctic region, though it would take hours for his temperature to fall low enough. And I am unsure if this would be effected should he be in constant battle during that time. Fortunately for me, I have dealt with enough cold-themed heroes and villains to recreate their weaponry. Secondarily, I could also take advantage of a resource that Transformers need to sustain themselves. A material known as energon. Transformers need to replenish it within themselves in order to continue functioning. In one universe, there existed an artifact that could drain the energon from a Transformer's body. If I can recreate this effect, I could depower Optimus enough to harmlessly capture him. Finally, I have a countermeasure I will only use should all else fail. Something very effective against Transformers, but also horrifying. A parasite that knows nothing else but eating and reproducing. Scraplets are without a doubt one of the most dangerous things I've ever discovered in our modern world. Should one get free, it could bring any civilization back to the Dark Ages. Never mind what would happen should that civilization also be made of metal. I currently have one in my possession, held in a secure location kept under constant sub-zero temperature to ensure it remains inactive. Should all else fail, I will have cyborg boom tube Optimus and the Scraplet to a pre-selected planet. It has a warm enough temperature to revive the Scraplet and is completely void of life, ensuring no innocence can come of harm. As I have said, this is only should I have no other option available to me, as losing someone like Optimus Prime would likely result in the end of the war for the Autobots. And for someone who was once left emotionally devastated by his accidental killing of a deer, I refuse to believe someone like him could turn evil without an outside influence. Because despite constant battle, despite watching his home be destroyed, Optimus Prime has never forgotten what it means to be strong enough to be gentle. If you also have a character you wish for me to cover, or just want to support this channel, I'll have a link to my Ko-fi page. There will also be a Google Doc with the list of characters who have ever been done or already commissioned by others.